In episode 8 on the pitch, everything's going great. The Greyhounds are flourishing. They've won 4 in a row. But in his personal life, things are awkward. Michelle visited along with Henry. That should be the good thing, but they brought a guest, Jake Jacobson. That's right, Dr. Jacobson. The man that heard all of their marital problems and then decided to be the ultimate interloper. With a stupid name. If you can't tell, I'm on Team Ted with this one. But Ted's handling it about as well as one could expect. It's awkward for everybody involved, but Ted's trying to focus on the fact that he does get to spend time with Henry. He does, however, get really concerned when he hears Michelle say that Jake is taking her to Paris. And the reason why he gets concerned is the fact that Paris has always been a dream vacation for Michelle. It's got her favorite hotel, her favorite museum, even though she's never been. So what Ted's thinking is that Jake is going to propose to Michelle, and that is consuming his mind. So much so that he has to have a Diamond Dogs meeting to ask about where everybody would get engaged if they had a dream location, and everybody said Paris. The Diamond Dogs, though, make him feel a lot better by saying, well, Ted, you're getting obsessed over something that hasn't even happened yet. You probably should wait for it to actually happen to feel this way. So Ted's going to need some answers. That requires hiring a private investigator, and he goes to talk to Rebecca about that. And Rebecca, much like the Diamond Dogs, try to put his mind at ease, but he tells her, I have to know. So Rebecca's going to hire a private investigator to follow the couple around to figure out if they are, in fact, getting engaged. He then goes down to focus on practice, and the big story in the locker room is that there was a giant data leak of a bunch of celebrities. Nudes, videos, the whole shebang. They're calling it the Great Awakening. They all have a conversation about the ethics of looking at the pictures. People like Isaac think that you shouldn't because those pictures weren't meant for you. Other people in the room think that, hey, it's fair game. And people like Jamie think that the real enemy here is people who stole the data. But as they're talking, they then see a familiar name on the list of celebrities whose videos are out there. Keeley. It's a surprise to everybody, and Isaac tells everybody in the room to delete all of the news that they have on their phone. Because now it's close. They actually know somebody affected by this. And he doesn't want it happening to his teammates. One person who's really, really concerned about this is Colin, because the nudes that he has on his phone are a little bit different than everybody else. So when Isaac commands everybody to delete everything right then and there, Colin decided to walk out of the room to privately delete his photos. And Isaac got mad. He followed him out there and said, dude, what did I tell you? Delete it right now. And he just instinctively grabs his cell phone and he sees what Colin was looking at. He doesn't say anything. He just nods, gives the phone back, and walks back in the locker room. But Colin's secret is out to at least one teammate. And as for Keeley, she's not handling this all that well. She was in bed with Jack. They were discussing how they were going to go and spend time with Jack's uncle at a polo match. And that's when her phone started blowing up and she saw the video. She starts panicking, but Jack reassured her, don't worry, I'll take care of this. Keeley, though, found out what take care of it meant when she got to her PR firm. Barbara handed her a statement from Jack that Jack wants Keeley to put on her social media accounts. And it's pretty cold. The statement that Jack wants Keeley to read is essentially, I am very sorry, I'm regretful, I vow to do better. It's a statement that you would write for someone who just had a DUI hit and run, not somebody whose video she made for a boyfriend leaked on the internet. Because of that, she gets pretty upset. She goes to talk to Rebecca about it, and Rebecca tells her this is nothing more than lawyer BS. I guarantee that Jack didn't actually write that for you. She just passed it down the pipeline. Go and talk to her about it. Let her explain herself. When Keeley goes to leave the pitch that day, though, she runs into Roy, and Roy apologizes to her. He feels really bad about what's going on, but then he makes a mistake by asking her, who did you make that video for? And she's disgusted. As soon as Roy asks it, he knows he made a mistake. And Roy doesn't get the answer to this, but she made it for Jamie back in the day because it was Jamie whose data was leaked. Keeley, though, heads home. She does ask Jack about the statement, and just like Rebecca said, Jack blames lawyers. When Keeley tells Jack that she can't do it, she can't make that statement, Jack understands and says, that's fine. But while Jack tried to be supportive, deep down, she did want Keeley to make a statement. Because after a fun day of going to miniature golf, she does rework the statement to make it sound more human, but it causes a big fight between her and Keeley. Keeley feeling like she shouldn't have to make a statement that makes it sound like she's sorry for making a video for a boyfriend, because she's not sorry. And Jack feeling like this is a really bad look. The girl that she's dating, whose PR firm she's funding, just had this video leak out. But what really sets the fight off is that Jack thinks Keeley should be embarrassed about this video, and Keeley doesn't think she should be embarrassed about the video. So the status of Jack and Keeley is kind of up in the air at this point. But after Jack leaves, Keeley does get a visitor, Jamie. Jamie feels horrible about what happened. Even though Keeley tells him that it's not his fault, he feels like ultimately it is, because the video was sent to him, and he reassures her that he did delete the video, but he forgot about emails. She can tell that Jamie is genuinely sorry for this, and she gives him a big hug. She really appreciates it. While one relationship is dying, another is blooming. Nate and Jade are doing really good. She slept over. They did sex stuff. That's cool. Nate, though, is wondering what exactly they are. I mean, the guy did just lose his virginity, so he's thinking this could be the one. But the relationship is in such an infancy stage that he just doesn't know what to make of it. So he decides to bring the Diamond Dogs to West Ham. It doesn't really go over all that well, though. He invites Rupert. He doesn't even show up. The West Ham version of Leslie thinks he's getting fired. The assistant coach doesn't want to be there. They don't really give Nate any good advice. And Nate realizes that the West Ham version of the Diamond Dogs is probably a one and done. Nate, though, has to get ready for a match anyway. But as he's out there coaching, his assistant coach says, "Yo, look behind you. You're never going to believe it." And Nate turns around, and there's Lasso, Beard, and Henry. And Henry is sporting a West Ham jersey. Because with Michelle and Jake in Paris, that gave Ted the opportunity to spend the entire day with Henry, and Ted didn't have work. So he asked Henry, "What do you want to do?" And Henry told him, "I want to go to see a football match." The only one in town was West Ham. So this wasn't like they had their pick of the litter, but Henry was excited to see Nate in action because Henry doesn't know about the bad blood between Nate and Ted, even though that bad blood's pretty one-sided at this point. The image, though, of Ted being at the West Ham match does reach Twitter, the press, and Rupert texts Nate after the match and says, "Hey, I'm sorry about that. It'll never happen again." Initially, Nate says, don't worry about it. I thought it was funny." But he deletes that and says, "Good." When he gets to his apartment later that night, he is spending time with Jade, and she can't figure out why he doesn't want to celebrate the West Ham victory that day. And it's because all Nate can do is look at the picture of Ted, Beard, and Henry in the stands cheering him on, and he's got mixed emotions about it. But Jade points out, they look like they're happy for you, so you should be happy for you. And then she refers to Nate as her boyfriend. And that immediately puts Nate in a much better headspace. As for Ted, after the match, Ted, Beard, and Henry went to Maze, and that's when Ted got the phone call from Rebecca giving him the insight that her private detective came up empty. As far as he knows, Michelle and Jake didn't get engaged. But Rebecca has a very important message for Ted. Stop focusing on the past. Your relationship with Michelle, it's over. Go spend time with Henry. You're lucky that you get to be in his life. And you're so focused on your ex-wife getting engaged that you're losing precious moments with your son. Ted realizes that his boss is right, and he walks over and rejoins Beard and Henry, who are belting out "Hey Jude." Her private investigator was also right. Michelle didn't get engaged. And it seems like Ted realized he spent the majority of this trip worried about something that never even happened. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry. It'll be up in a day or two.